everyone, and welcome to the GameFace MPNFL Netball Show. We are without Sammy tonight. Unfortunately, I think the rain and hail from last week has given her the lurgy. So, but we welcome back Lou.
Hey guys, it's great to be back.
It's good to have you
Apart
back.
from the cold weather, I was like not enjoying that.
Would have been nicer over in the States, I'm sure. On tonight's show, we welcome Jade Aaron from the Langwarrin Football Netball Club, who'll be joining us for a chat about her season and how Langwarrin's going so far. So stay tuned as we will go through that later in the show.
That's right. Langy currently have 4 out of 5 teams sitting in the top 5 and just one team out of the top 5 sitting 6. So we're looking forward to chatting with Jade all about Langy and their season and, which clubs they think are a threat to them this season and who's the biggest surprise so far.
Yeah, sounds like they're having a successful year so far. We'll also have a look at our regular segments too. So let's jump to it and look at last week's results. So Lou, straight off the plane, do you know what's going on?
Yeah, I was able to...
Tell us what's going on in Division 1.
Get 24 hours rest in before we were lucky enough. We had some Ash and Lachey work some magic for us, so we didn't have to be out in the cold. We were able to go inside and use FDNA courts with the school holidays. So
did see a little bit of that last week from the YCW girls. Very clever.
We were very happy with that. I was sitting at the airport in Hong Kong working out how we could be possibly playing inside, and then it did finally click to me that it was holidays, so it could work, but it was great. I was, we heard the pouring rain and hail on the tin roof, and I was more than happy with being inside. So,
was there? I know that you weren't down there, but Jubilee does have the potential to have the water leaking through. Did the girls experience any of that, or did it actually hold up?
It actually held up. No, we didn't notice anything, particularly on court 1. It wasn't really anything. Sometimes further over to court 2, you get that drips, but I didn't notice anything personally. Lucky. And we were able to come away with 4 from 4 and 7 from 7. So the club was very happy on Saturday. Up and about. We got our first happy hour for the season. Woohoo! And we got to rub it into our rivals Bombers just a little bit. So that was great. But in Div 1, look, there wasn't too many surprising results in A grade. Pines Bond Beach was quite a close game for Bond Beach, not really getting across the line yet. Only 3 goals in it, so not sure if Pines were missing a few players or if that weather played a really big impact in that.
Maybe the Sharks are just a little bit better on the in the wet weather.
They're used to the water, so it could be. And then Mornington having a commanding win over Mount Eliza, but EDS were able to come away with a win against Rosebud, so sitting 4th, beating top place. Not really much in our top 5, so they're all close games, so they would be very happy to come across with that win.
I think EDS have really been they're needing to, I think, step up.
Exactly. So, they've had a couple, and they had the same 7 on the court for the whole 4 quarters and were able to just come away with the lead and maintain it. So I think they were pretty happy with getting that across the board. I was going to say, great way to step up is to beat the first place Rosebud, isn't it? Exactly. And then Sorrento taking over Dramana by just the 4 goals, but interesting to note, Dramana has since they've lost Carly, their dominance on some of these games has dropped a little bit, so I'm just wondering if that's playing a little bit of a role as we come into the pointy end of the season.
Yeah, definitely.
And then across the board, B grade, we had Bond Beach and their 3rd draw for the season. They just can't get across the line for a win.
How many draws does it take to make it into finals, do you think?
I don't know, I think you need more than the 3. But they would be I'm sure they would probably be shattered. It's nice to get the 2 points, but after 3 you would hopefully try and get across the line for, just one more goal.
Yeah, just an extra bit of court time. Let's scorekeeper, just sit on the bench for a little bit longer.
Just let us get it. And then not really anything else too surprising. C grade, I know my girls had a very close eye on the Edie Rosebud game. So Rosebud in 6th place, managing to get the win over EDS. I know the conditions were quite treacherous, and I was hoping Sammy was here so we could quiz her a little bit, but unfortunately she's not. So that's their 2nd loss in a row for EDS, so I know there's a few keen eyes in C grade just watching that to see if maybe they're missing a couple of players or if it's just the weather and not agreeing with
such treacherous conditions that she couldn't make it here tonight because she's still sick from last week's game.
Exactly. And then Mount Eliza and Mornington, I would have thought would have been a lot closer than this 37-14. Teams, the Mount Eliza teams have been quite close in the last few games, and then Mornington have just blown them out the water. So Mornington definitely one to watch in C grade as we get closer to the end of the season.
very low scores, I noticed, across the weekend, just purely because of the conditions, I think.
Apart from one team.
Who was that?
D-grade EDS, 70 goals in their D-grade team to 15. So the weather clearly didn't affect their D-grade team.
Wow, that's a massive result for a D-grade side. I don't think I see that very often, a D-grade scoring that many goals. So that could potentially bounce somebody who's sitting in that goaling position in that team straight to sharpshooter leaderboard, I think, maybe.
Definitely. But that's a wrap up from Div 1 this week. So what happened in Div 2?
Div 2, as we know, pretty ordinary conditions. So I don't think it really played out necessarily with affecting any of the results, whether a team was going to win or lose. The games that I think particularly stood out, though, was the Tyab versus Hastings A-grade game. So Tyab in 6th position. Probably similar to Somerville, where I am now, where we know that we can't make it into the finals. So what we do know that we can go in there and play against those top 5 teams and just give them a bit of a run for their money and see if we can, shuffle it up a little bit. And they did. They had a fantastic win against Hastings, so coming away 43-23. So it's a massive result against 4th place Hastings. So that was a big one for me. Also, Tyab versus Hastings, really tight one in their C grade 21-22. So again, just some tight games across the board. And again, Seaford versus Somerville, 40 versus 41. So tight game being down there. We were lucky enough to play Seaford on the weekend, so in there at Linen House, so we were indoors. It was the
luxuries.
The luxury. It was the best draw to possibly have taken place for us to have found the indoor court on that one particular round, and that was legitimately, I think Seaford was winning most of the game, and we were able to just get over the line at the end of the game. So it was really, really tight in those last dying minutes. So that was a really great game. But otherwise, I think it was pretty much as expected across the board.
And we still have Coringal undefeated in 3 grades. Is that right? I was having a little look on there.
They are. Yeah. They are. So they are travelling very well down at Coringal. So sitting undefeated in the B, C, and D grade at this current time. So
I think that's I think there's only one club in Div 1 for the whole, I think, that is undefeated. So that's a pretty awesome effort to have all 3 teams undefeated at this stage of the of the rounds.
Definitely, yes. No, they're doing very well. So we'll definitely be seeing them out on the courts during finals this year.
Yeah, awesome. And you touched on it just before, but our Swordfish Wine Bar and Tapas match of the round this week was the A-grade clash between Tyab and Hastings. Heading into the game, the Abbies, as you said, were sitting 6th on the ladder and the Blueies sitting in 4th. So what can you tell us and what did our spy have to say?
Yeah, so even though Tyab aren't in the top 5, we know that they're having a really good season. So they've just probably missed out on a couple of wins earlier in the season to not be playing finals, I think, this year. They had a draw against Langwarrin back in round 4. They had a really close loss to Coringal when they played them in round 6. And again, even more recently, Langwarrin, so maybe their biggie team with a loss by 3. So, really super close.
So close games.
But like I said before, it doesn't mean that they can't go in there and now, rattle some of those top teams. So for the Swordfish Wine Bar and Tapas match of the round, it was against Hastings. You would have expected the fact that Hastings would have come away from the win based on the ladder. Wasn't the case. And so they were able to see Tyab come across and win that. And so, look, based on our spies out there, it was Tyab was able to put all-court performance together by all their players, and apparently this is the first time that that's happened maybe for the entire year.
And it does make a huge difference when everyone connects and they play that game down the court.
So they had, during the year they've had standouts, and they've got an amazing group of players at the club, particularly in their A-grade side. But this week they put everything together. Everyone stood up, and it was a massive result for Tyab to be able to take away with that win. So whilst all the players did have a great game, the standout, or the person who was nominated as the Swordfish Wine Bar and Tappers match or the game player of the round was Izzy Brown. So she had intercepts and tips that resulted in Tyab possession throughout the game. That was able to be converted. They got those across on the scoreboard. She played a very calm game, particularly in attack, and just fed that goal ring exceptionally well. So congratulations to Izzy. She has been named our player of the round.
Congratulations, Izzy.
You missed out last week. We had Judy on the show, and we were able to grill her about our how umpires are tracking and the development of the competition, particularly around the umpires, the under-17 competition, etc. And so there was some fantastic feedback that we've had, and I don't know if you've caught up with the GameFace app. Yeah.
So we had some really interesting points come through, and our great friend Trish, as always, has some great points. Brought up a really good one, which I didn't mind, actually. The umpire review card. I know there was another comment from an umpire that wasn't as in love with the idea, but it's definitely something we can look towards. I think the football have something similar where they get rated, and maybe it is something we bring across in just the A grade to start with, to see if it works. I know clubs, had this discussion a few weeks ago about the onus on the players, but there is also room for improvement for our umpires, and we hope that they're developing through the years. So I think the review card is something that we could look at, or some system of a review would be great that we could implement. Because I know they do have their, I was going to call it a chaperone, but that's not the right word.
The person who comes out and observes them.
Yeah, the observer. That's the word I'm looking for. The observers come down and give in feedback, which is great, but also there's things that clubs see differently to than an umpire sees, so that interaction is quite good. Yeah,
I love the idea. I still think, if we could maybe have something around the training and development, whether they need to have, everybody who's umpiring across the both leagues coming together and, as a group. What are the challenges? What are they experiencing? How can they improve?
And a focus group work through it.
How can they look at the coaching and development of the umpires that we've got across the across the MPNFL. I think that would probably be more beneficial maybe on an initial stage, and then seeing if there's a kind of what feedback can come out of that. But it was great to have her on. I thought Judy would be a little bit more controversial, but she played. She
held her tongue?
She did. She held her tongue. So
maybe we just didn't bait her enough.
No, so it was really great to have her there. The other thing that I thought was really interesting was one of the umpires who did comment on the page, some of the statistics around how many decisions an umpire has to make throughout a game. And I thought that was really interesting. And, to think that talking to the umpires that I'm friends with, they were saying that, if you umpire a game of netball, often you'll come off the game more tired, sweatier, etc., than you did if you had played the game, because it is so physical to get, you've got to get to that baseline. And I say that a bit tongue-in-cheek, you have to get to that baseline, umpires. I see a lot that don't.
But so you can see, you're taught to get to the baseline and turn your shoulders so it can open up and
so
you
that
can
you're
see
having
what's
a good view of the court.
But you, as an umpire, you're also a step ahead of the game, or you're trying to be a step ahead of the game and looking ahead. So you're focusing on what's happening, what's going to happen, what's happened, plus adding the physical side of it, which you are doing as when you're playing as well.
That's
but probably you've actually got to do a little bit more when it comes to umpiring.
So it was like thousands and thousands of decisions that they have to make at any given time across of game and netball. So it was very interesting, those stats. So anyone who's having a bit of a whinge around how the umpires are going, have a think about that and appreciate the job that they're doing.
We said the other week, if you haven't umpired, you can't comment until you go out.
I'm not commenting any further.
And then also a couple of other comments on the under-17s competition. So, we do agree that it's needed. For female participation, we weren't suggesting that it would be rid completely, but perhaps something to look forward to. We have these great competitions at Mornington Peninsula and FDNA. Obviously, further down the peninsula, it's a little bit harder, but maybe the clubs can start bringing teams through these competitions as well, and building clubs through that way, and giving back to the grassroots, so then when it is time to step up and play this senior netball, that they are ready and they've had a great
Yep, they're aware of what it's about, understand.
Just like sort of the junior football associations do. So, they've gone back to 17s and under 19s with the netball, the football. So maybe it's something we look forward to as well.
I think a really healthy discussion with that, with all the interested stakeholders involved, is what needs to happen in the competition. So let's just not talk to FDNA, but let's bring in the Mornington Netball Association, right down to the MPN Association, all the some key players at the club level, and really just do what's right for netball across the entire
100%,
area.
Not just what's right for one association, but what's
exactly
right for the sport. Because without netball, we don't get to play.
We need the juniors coming up. It's just where are they going to come from?
And up next on the show, we welcome our guest Jade Aaron right after this quick message from our sponsor. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, Plugger from GameFace here. GameFace is really excited to introduce our new official apparel partner for 2019 and 2020, Swiv's Locker.
Yeah, Plugger, we've got a whole range of winter warmers, jackets, hoodies, polo shirts, puffer vests, long sleeve tees, the whole works. Get your GameFace on.
And thanks again to Swiv's Locker for their support of our show. Make sure you contact them for all your on-court and off-court apparel needs. And now we are pleased to welcome Jade Aaron to the panel. Thanks for joining us, Jade, and welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us tonight, Jade. An impressive 2019 season for Langy is coming up. Let's start with a look at where your teams are. So we have in the A grade, Langy sitting in third position, one game behind Crib Point, and in 1 and 2, and Seaford, and one game ahead of Hastings in fourth. B grade sitting in third position, 2 games behind Somerville, and 1 game ahead of Devon in fourth. So pretty much cemented your final spot there. C grade sitting in sixth position, chasing Crib Point, who are 6 points out of the finals at the moment, and another finals hopefully appearance for D grade sitting in second with 8 points behind our first placed and undefeated Kringle, and in front of Kringle chasing you just 2 points behind. So, and then your under 17s as well, sitting third, equal points in fourth place.
Impressive.
And 1 game ahead of the 5th place Hastings. So pretty happy. You must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, pretty stoked. It's been a good first year as head coach, and absolutely, overall with the performances the girls are putting out, and they all look like they're enjoying the netball, which is the main thing.
And it's I guess for a club point of view, we've got quite a successful year as well. The morale amongst the girls is, even the girls that aren't in the finals race at the minute or are just sitting outside of it, they're still keen to try and be that team that's getting there as well. So just brings that sort of level of excitement around the club up a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's right. It makes it easy to get girls to training too.
Speaking of training, so your courts are under renovation at the moment. So where do you hold your training sessions?
Yes, we have our trainings on Thursday nights at Jubilee.
Okay, fantastic. So that's
outdoors.
That's all right though. So nice central place, easy to get to. Yep, brilliant.
So it doesn't put you out too much with location-wise, and
not too much. Yeah. It makes it a little bit difficult when we got to get back to the club rooms for Thursday night meals. But other than that, it's fine.
Cool. Do you start a little bit earlier with that?
We tend to start at 6:30 and then finish a little bit earlier, so we just get in, get out.
Cool.
And how are the courts tracking? When are we expected to have them finished?
Oh, we don't know yet. It was meant to be
at least they started.
True. It was meant to be a 20-week project, but might be pushed out a little bit. So we just all up to council, unfortunately.
And can you give us some news about what kind of service we're looking at? Is there anything special that's happening down there?
So we were originally meant to have about 4.5 courts. We've now got 5. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty big down there. And
that's awesome. Plenty of room to warm up, plenty of room for all your teams to train, so you can train at a similar time.
That's right.
Schedule finals down there potentially.
Oh, hopefully. I was hoping finals this year.
Yep.
doesn't bite me.
So are we looking at the Rebound Ace coloured surface, or are we going with an asphalt? Do you know what you're having?
No, I'm not too sure yet.
Just whatever the council puts down.
Yeah, the junior club's been running it, and then the council has final word. So
do you have? It's been a while since I've been at Langy with the new rooms. Is there a club rooms next to it as well and change rooms facility, or is that closer to the football still?
Yeah, so we have the existing club rooms are staying there. It's just the courts that are being redone. I think eventually we might have a show court, hopefully moved over to where the footy is.
Awesome, that'll be cool.
Long-term.
Yeah, long-term plans. Yeah, Langwarrin definitely is a club that gets particularly a high amount of funding because there's so many teams across both juniors and seniors. So it'd be great to look at what the facilities look like at the end.
But it's great to have that in the plans as well, and have a show court in future plans, because we all know how long it can take sometimes to get something across council. I know there's plenty of clubs that are still waiting on their courts.
Yeah. The next place for the show court is down at Frankston Park. So let's hope. Let's wait for that as well.
Finals.
Exactly. So let's have a talk about your season so far. So how did you go with your recruiting this season? Who are your new recruits across the teams down at Langwarrin?
So we've B grade was pretty standard from last year. Had a couple of pregnancies and whatnot, so a couple of people moving in and out.
Yes.
A grade is pretty much the same as well. Just picked up a new defender, which makes my job a bit easier.
So who's your new defender?
So Marie, she's a background at basketball. I've been playing for a couple of seasons, and I was slotted in really well into the back line, and just been brilliant for us. So.
And where did you find her? How does someone go about finding talent like that can slot straight into an A grade side?
Yeah, I can't take the credit for it, unfortunately. Sarah Drain spotted her at a local comp, and asked her to come down, and then perform well at training, and then got the call up. So
brilliant.
She's been doing really well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And have you had across the club and many injuries this season that have made selections difficult, or
other than those
changing?
9-month injuries that you just spoke about? There's always those across the clubs.
I've had a couple of them.
Yeah.
We've got injuries haven't been too bad. Haven't had any major ones at the moment. I know. At the moment, our C grade coach and one of our D grade players, same person, Lisa, she's done her ankle, so she's been in a moon boot for a while, and just waiting to get her back on court. But it's our only major one.
Yeah,
lucky.
Very good start, especially this time of the season. So hopefully you can sail smoothly through to finals now.
So does that make your selection a little bit harder across the board if you've got a full squad of players available and fighting for positions on game day?
Well, for me, being predominantly A and B coach, I've had a couple of girls in B grade go away, so it's kind of made it easier to put girls on court. A grade, you're pretty much all fighting for a spot, unfortunately.
Yep. And how are you going with the premium player rule at Langwarrin now? I know that you've taken the court with BNL again this year, so you've forced yourself into being a premium player for an extra year now. But is that an issue with your club around that new ruling, or how many premium players do you have on your list?
So just myself. So we've got it pretty easy.
Yep.
Yeah, so Emily Zushna's in the development side for Casey.
Yes.
So if she takes the court at BNL, she's obviously the next one that stands in as a premium player. Otherwise, we've got it pretty easy. We've just got good players.
Just a nice even level squad across the grades.
Yeah,
good on you.
And who's your standout players for across the board, and in particular A grade? Who's your standout players for the season at the moment?
It's pretty much even. We've enjoyed having Amy Sleffer back after a baby last year, so she's pretty much slotted right into our mid-court as though she never left.
So she'll be qualified for finals. Yes.
So she's been lovely to have back, and especially we know how fit she is after the.
She did come back. Yeah, she did come back very early after having her third, didn't she?
5 weeks.
That is amazing. So Amy, we don't know how you do it, but
I know.
Clearly her fitness has a lot to do with it.
Crazy.
But that is a very short period of time after having a baby, particularly your third, to be out there back on court. So. Yes, all of the girls that are on that 9-month injury at the moment, that's the benchmark, and as coaches, that's what we're expecting you to be bouncing back for.
That'd be nice.
So who else has been standouts for you?
A grade's pretty much across the board. We're all enjoying our netball and playing well, which is good. B grade, our mid-court's standing up really well. Sarah Jono and Zoe Zushna are both pretty much taking on the leadership roles and dominating through the midcourt. C grade, we're very defensive heavy. So we've got a couple big tools in there, which, those giraffe and gangly arms are getting in everywhere.
Bit of succession planning there, is there?
Yeah. We can take some of them at YC. We're very short, so.
Hoping to bring them up the ranks. And our D grade side is pretty strong and sitting second at the moment, so I'm very happy.
And then Langwarrin Junior Club is obviously quite a big club. Do you have a good relationship with them to be able to feed players through from the junior ranks?
Yeah, it's something I'm trying to build. It's one of my things as a coach that I was brought on board for. Just trying to make sure we're doing a lot of clinics with them and interacting with them to try and get that feed happening up through the ranks. Obviously we want the girls from our junior club to play with our senior club, so it's something we are working hard on, and makes it a little bit difficult with the courts and not everyone being together and training nights all separate, but we're getting there.
Yeah, well, I suppose that they would also be impacted by the fact that they don't have the training. So do you know, are the junior club also training down at Jubilee Park? So everyone's probably a little bit impacted at the moment.
Yeah, and because we have so many junior teams as well, they're all on different nights, so it makes it really hard. We're all spread out, but
it's great that you've got that relationship there and can build it through for the years to come and make sure you're a dominant team for many years to come, hopefully.
All right, so let's have a look at who you face week in, week out. So who is performing better this season, do you think, particularly maybe in A grade, that maybe you hadn't expected, or is there anyone that you've come across that surprised you?
To be honest, I knew it was going to be tough. I wasn't disappointed at all. Every team we get every week, you never know whether or not you're going to win, and it's a great thing to go up against. You can't go in, expecting an easy game. So, it's been nice having Seaford come up or drop down from Division 1. They're absolutely smashing it.
Let's be honest, it is coming up to Division 2 netball.
That's true.
No disrespect there, Lou, but you're coming up to Division 2. So who, coming into finals, who do you think your biggest threats are going to come from? Whether it be from matchups or just purely based on how you performed against them during the season, who are you watching out for?
As I said, you can't take anyone lightly. It's just the better team on the day, I think.
Yep.
Any matchup is a good matchup, and all the teams are playing well, and whoever wins obviously deserves it.
Is there a danger team you put a little bit more focus on? Or do you want to hold those cards close to your chest?
No, the top 5 is just so strong. You never know.
100% it is.
Happy not to take a risk and get an easy win on the board, but it's just unpredictable, so we'll take what we can get.
So the top 5 for our division is locked in, Division 2, so it can't move. Positionally, it may. So if you're can't choose your own side, who do you think out of that top 5 could come away with a flag if it's not going to be Langwarrin?
That's a tough one. Obviously, I'm hoping it's Langy.
Yes, hence the reason why I won't let you choose you.
It could be anyone on a day. I think, obviously, Kringle's got the experience of having the flag last year, but then again, their matchups and games they've played previously against Seaford have been tough. So, and to be honest, Crivy is still a sneaky chance even after losing Adrian, so you just never know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if anyone doesn't take them as a powerhouse, even without Adrian now on the court, I think they will leave themselves, with the loss beside their names if they choose to do that.
Yeah, they're a tough side.
And so, do you keep an eye on what's going on in Division 1? Do you?
I try to.
If you had a stab on who would win their flag?
I go Rosebud.
Yeah.
Can't look past them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a strong team, and we actually play in a competition on Monday nights. We've come up against them. They are tough.
Okay.
They are, and they are looking good.
Yeah.
So there's similarly to the top 5 in Div 2, that it's anyone's game really. So it's there's movement across there. There's 4 teams losing left, right, and centre that you would have thought maybe had the game sewn up. So it'll be definitely interesting come finals time.
All right, so we talked about the fact that our finals are locked in, but this is a new structure this year with the top 5. Yeah. What do you think about that? Have you taken a different look at that from a coach's perspective, or how are you going to track along with that?
I actually quite like it. Yeah, I think it obviously gives another team an opportunity to make finals, and considering how even our teams are across the board in Division 2. I think it's great. It's great for competition and, an extra team in finals, an extra week, and, I think it'll be great.
So have you got a preference on, obviously with the football being played down at Cars Street Oval, where the grand finals would be played? Do you care? Is that something that the girls down at Langwarrin actually mind, or what are your thoughts on that?
My preference would be, ideally, would have, Division 1 and Division 2 swap venues.
Yep.
Makes it fair on everyone. So no home ground advantage or anything, but yeah, I'm not really fussed.
Because Langwarrin boys are going to be in the finals as well, by the looks of things. So you're potentially going to have clashes with the netball being on at the same time as the football, and you are quite a close club.
We are, yeah.
How's that going to play out, do you think?
Don't know, to be honest. It's one of those things we take week by week. If the boys are really supportive of netball and always come down and watch us and cheer us on, which is great, and we get back and do the same thing. So, it'd be interesting to see how we go. I'm hoping we all make finals. It would be great to have that support too.
Have a few flags down at the club rooms at the end of the...
That'd be good.
At the end of the season. All right.
And then looking, you've already obviously got a 17s team. How do you find the 17s competition, and what are your thoughts on the future of the 17s?
I love watching the girls. 17s are great. It's nice to see the future talent coming up through the ranks and working hard every week. Would prefer for every side to be able to field a 17s team. I think it'll be good for competition and only grow and strengthen it. But yeah, I've enjoyed watching our girls. They're a great bunch of kids, so yeah, it's been good.
Have your under-17s been taking the court in any of the higher grades? Have you been able to transition any of those through to your senior teams so far this season, or are they being held predominantly in that under-17 comp?
Yeah, we've pretty much kept them down. A lot of them are only 14.
Okay.
Yeah, or 14 or 15. So I've had
Quite
to...
young.
Yeah, can't... I think there's that age rule. So just got to wait for them to come up next year. Might give them a run. But there's a couple there that are looking like they could take the court next year. Which is
so telling me if that under-17 side sticks together at Langwarrin, then we've
tough.
got... Yeah, you've got a tough side coming through for the next few years as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Jade. It's been great to get some insight into Langy, and looking forward to your end of the season. I know there's going to be a few keen eyes on your game this weekend against Seaford. But thanks so much, and we'll see what happens at the tail end of the season for Langy.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. All right, thanks so much to Frankie Media for their ongoing support. And now it's time for Netflix and Skill. Let's have a look at what's come through so far this week.
Up first on Netflix and Skill, we have my beautiful girls from YC with some great faces. We've actually got a little Instagram competition going on with the Get Your Game Face on, and the boys, and some of these are the beauties that came out from the girls. So I'm sure they'll be happy with me putting these on. But if you're going to make the face, you've got to deal with it. So we know there's plenty more out in the world where they come from, so don't forget to send them in.
There's so many photographers that are out there hunting us down now, and you cannot escape these wonderful netball photos. So up next, we have another great action shot. This one's from round 11 clash between Frankston Bombers and Dramana. Oh, is that Chloe Sharman that I see out there?
It is Chloe, and she has some rippers. This is probably not one of her best, but it is a great one. And even from the Dramana player as well, she's got a great face there.
I also love the fact that there's a toilet block in the background.
And then we've also had one sent through of our very own Sammy copping one in the guts, which looks like it's winded her a little bit, and the Mornington player's gone down as well. So nice to see they're out there having a nice, tough competition, and, no contact in netball.
Definitely not.
So thanks for sending those through, guys. Make sure you keep them coming in, particularly the GameFace ones. We like them. Inbox us directly or the GameFace page. What have we got in store?
Yeah, and you know what? I think while you were away, we went a week where we either didn't have a rumour or there wasn't as many coming through. So hopefully now that you're back, so inbox Lou, inbox myself.
Get the gossip.
To see what's going on around the clubs. All right, so Division 1 rumour this week is, which Division 1 club has allegedly reneged on reciprocal rights on gate entry charges, then after a shock defeat, God, there's a lot on this one, spent the extra money from their gate on poaching the same opposition club's specialist defensive coach?
Well, this club obviously has too much money if they can afford a specialist defensive coach on top of a normal coach.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. I think at Somerville we have team coaches who are the defensive coaches, attacking coaches, centre court coaches. We are all coaches because we don't have the funding for specialist defensive coaches. So that must eliminate who we're talking about here. But
interesting, and particularly for Div 1 clubs, I know at the start of the season there was a lot of talk on who's charging what with gate entry, particularly because
not
everyone has a one entrance or the facilities to facilitate the gate entry. So, some clubs have had a gentleman's agreement and then just been ripped up underneath them.
I'm going to say you would want to be careful about what comes back to bite you on that one. So let's stay tuned.
It's obviously someone that's played each other twice, so that narrows it down a little bit more.
So for those playing at home, go back to your ladders and your fixtures to see who that could potentially be.
Let us know who it is.
All right, Division 2. Which Division 2 game did not go ahead on the weekend due to the confusion with game times?
Jeez. Well, that could have happened. We were we had a change in our game times on the weekend, and I was very nervous that some of my players weren't going to turn up.
It's like, whether it's daylight savings or not, when you just freak out, all the coaches, we've got to be here at this particular time, but to have a game not to go ahead. So what happened, I wonder, whether they got 2 points each or...
I guess, I don't know, does it come down as a forfeit? Does one club...
Did one game?
I guess
it's one club.
Is it normal game times?
I don't know even if one club turned up and the other one didn't.
If you change your game times, the league, you have to have it verified for the league. So maybe
that's right. It's all in the GameFace app, and My Netball would have all probably showed the correct time. So, that was a bit of a mistake by someone, wasn't it?
They might be in a bit of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't come down to finals.
All right. I don't know. Well, thanks for sending those through. We'll wait and see. So make sure you keep them coming, like we said. Inbox us directly or send it through to GameFace.
And now let's take a look at our upcoming games. So we're getting right towards the point of the season. Only 4 home and away games left for Div 2. So we have some crucial games coming up. Please tell us what they are.
All right, so the first game that I want to call out is the B grade Crib Point versus Devon Meadows game. So Crib Point sitting in 7th position at the moment. So you think, what's the importance in that, playing Devon Meadows who are 4th? But it is so close that if Crib Point actually gets this win tomorrow versus Devon, then that's going to keep their finals hopes alive. So it's a big match. And Crib Point have played finals, for the last few seasons in B grade, so they know what it takes, and so it'll be an interesting game. So that's the big call out. And then we've got we spoke about it earlier around how Coringal's sitting undefeated in B, C and D. This might be their first test at this point of the season when they come up against Chelsea. So Chelsea in their C grade are sitting 2nd, so first versus second, and in D grade, first versus third. So the two clubs obviously being quite successful so far this year. So, will this be the week where Coringal doesn't come away undefeated? We'll have to wait and see. We'll leave it up to Chelsea. And the other 2 games that I wanted to, again, same clubs and in both the A and the B grade, and that's Langwarrin versus Seaford. Again, very equal position ladder positions for the clubs. So Langwarrin versus Seaford, Langwarrin being in 3rd, Seaford versus Seaford in 2nd. We heard from Jade, they are travelling really well, the Langwarrin A grade side. I played Seaford last week in that indoor game, and they are a very schmick little side. no real fancy players, but very similar to Langwarrin, whereas they don't really have that standout. Just
strong
two
across the
very
board.
even sides, no superstars, just a superstar side.
I mean, from Seaford last year and a couple of years, they've always been a strong team. So they're obviously building on that and really enjoying their time in Div 2. And hopefully, you'll never know what can happen in finals.
And that'll be played indoors. As we know, Langwarrin's courts are still under renovation. So that'll just be a really top quality game, which you get from that indoor game, potentially, depending on what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. So really looking forward to knowing what the results are for that. Likewise, in their B grade, Langwarrin being third versus Seaford fifth. Being in B grade myself, two of the most even sides here, I think. So don't want to tip a draw, but Jesus, it'd be close. It'd be really close. And the other thing too is that, so I won't tell you what the results are yet. We'll wait for them to come through as we review them next week. But those Kooringal and Chelsea games, last night they were played. So we'll hold those over. So that's all for me. And what about yourself?
So our division is still quite across the grades, still quite a few positions on the ladders to be just a game or two. I know I was talking to Shay and then a couple of the Bombers girls, their C grade team still have hopes, and I scoffed at them, not rudely, but they're sitting in 8th, and I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, no, potentially if they win all their next few games, they really needed to beat us on Saturday, but I wasn't letting that happen. And,
I was listening to Maxie Gawn on the radio during the week, and he obviously in Melbourne, and he said that he's mathematically able to make finals as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've really got to cut your losses and go, no, I don't think I can.
Well,
but
to Bombers' credit for their C grade, a lot of the C grade top teams have to play each other in the next couple of rounds, so it could actually happen for them if they can get across the line. And then across all the other grades, there's no real fight. There's obviously the top 1 or 2 teams in a couple of grades final spots cemented, but from 3rd down to 8th can be in all 4 grades. The spots are up for grabs. So A grade, EDS versus Sorrento, 4th versus 3rd. So it's going to be a cracking game. Our top 5 games are always great games. And then Rosebud, YC across all 4 grades will be quite strong. I think Rosebud will come away with the win in A grade. I know our girls are really pushing. I think they've worked it out. They can't make it anymore, but are still trying to push themselves for the the last few games and really take it to those teams. But B grade, we've got 3rd versus 2nd, so that's going to be a cracking game. And then Rosebud coming off a win against EDS, sitting in 5th place, and my girls in 1st, so that's going to be a really strong game. They're going to have all the confidence in the world, so we've got to actually bring a really strong game, and hopefully
they've got nothing to lose, do they?
They've got nothing to lose, and my girls, to their credit, have been playing some great netball, so hopefully they can just keep it going.
Especially with Coach Lou back.
I don't know if that helps us at all.
Well, we'll see you next week, won't we? I might send you back to the States.
Brookie did a great job while I was away, so she can take it. And then D grade, Mount Eliza versus Dramana. So we've got 2nd versus 4th there, which will be a great game. And I did miss one in the C grade, Bomb Beach, Mornington. So 3rd versus 4th, as I said before, Mornington had a dominant performance against Mount Eliza last week and really hitting their straps towards the end of the season. Bomb Beach, some ups and downs, had a great win against EDS the other week. So it could be a game that will go either way, and we'll be looking forward to shaping the rest of the C grade ladder.
Bomb Beach has become my little, my little project club in Division 2. Division 1. So I'm going to go for Bomb Beach in that game. I hope that they continue their success this season in C grade. So sitting in, 3rd position at the moment.
They're a great team. They've got great
Bomb
height.
Beach.
So we'll see what happens there. But Mornington also, they've both just come across a win from EDS, so it'll be a great game. Pity can't go watch it. Well, I'm sure my girls would like to be spies down there.
And I also wanted to make a shout out to our, in Division 2, the Crib Point under-17 team. They had their first win last week.
Congratulations, girls.
Oh, yeah, let's cheers to that.
Sorry.
So it wasn't just their first win, I don't think, this season, but I think it might be their first win for a considerable amount of time. So I could only imagine the celebrations that Crib Point had down there. So good on the girls, and I hope that that's the first win of many wins for the rest of the season and ongoing. Well done.
And we've got a couple of shout-outs for some milestone games. 100 games, congratulations to Mornington captain coach Pippa, who's been a great defender since the inception of Mornington and brings up her 100 games this week.
Congratulations. And over in Division 2, we have 100 games for Amanda LaMarshall from Langwarrin. So she's playing her 100 games in B grade, one of their solid defenders there. And she probably would have played that a little bit earlier if she didn't take holidays.
Leave?
Yeah, no, well, yeah.
Or longer.
The 9-month leave, which I'm sure she clocked over during that time, and also holidays to Bali during the year. So, you know,
some
Amanda,
of us have to get out of the warmth. Out of the cold.
You would have played it earlier if you hadn't disappeared.
And a little shout out to Steph Parr from YSU, who played her 50th game last week. So a little asset to our club for the last 3 years.
Don't let me started on the 50th games. We've got plenty of them at Somerville this year.
And yeah, we just want to have a massive shout out to our support sponsors, Swifts Locker, Frankie Media, Swordfish Wine Bar and Tapas. We really do appreciate your support. And don't forget, if you're out there watching, chuck us a like or a comment. Really get involved with our discussion so we can talk about what you want to talk about. We love hearing it and seeing it, and we love the interaction, so get on board.
And it was from your feedback that we've had Jade come onto the show tonight, and so we really appreciate what you're thinking and wanting to see on the show, so keep it coming. We will modify the show each week based on what your feedback is. So thanks again to Jade for coming in earlier, and thanks to you guys for tuning in. Good luck to all the teams tomorrow, and we'll see you all again next week. Cheers!